Unless you root for the SEC, Big Ten, or most of the Pac-12, it's time to wake up, college basketball! Welcome back to Wake Up College Basketball, presented by 4 Points Hotels. Travel reinvented. Book now at 4points.com. With me today, Susanna Collins. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan.
It's lovely to have you. First of all, big thanks to UNC. Just made sure that we all got some very early beauty sleep last night.
Appreciate that. Love you, Roy.
And now we're almost done with the tournament.
I know.
It's weird.
It is really weird.
And for all the talk about how we were going to have, all these upsets and who knows who's going to win, the 1 seeds are looking good so far.
They certainly are, Ryan.
But before we get to them, let's look at the bracket, not from the perspective of who's left, but the narratives that are left. You and I have gone through and we figured out which cliche is still alive for each team in the tournament, and we're going to pick the Elite 8 games based on that. Where do you want to start?
Which is so much more fun. Let's just start with the South here. All right, so we've got we've got Kansas, and the narrative here is Bill Self.
Bill Self is a choker.
Inevitably will choke against Villanova.
Jay Wright is a choker.
Also a choker.
Choker versus choker.
So,
of the narratives, which one I would like to see survive?
Yeah.
I think it's probably that Bill Self is a choker.
Yeah.
Just because it goes so well with Bob Stoops as a choker. I like that there's sort of a Big 12 theme running there. I like keeping those together.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that because I still harbor a massive grudge against Bill Self for leaving Illinois.
Aww.
So hey!
Moving on to the west part, we've got Oregon. Oregon, your cliche is please pick a uniform color. It looks like a school supply list had sex with a rave. And the other team in that bracket.
We've got Oklahoma, who historically always has amazing players.
Yep. Never
wins it. Four Final Four appearances and this many championships.
Thanks for doing nothing.
Let's see what they do with Buddy Hield.
Which of these cliches do you want to keep going?
I kind of like the Oklahoma, the pain of that, the constant failure of these amazing players that
That's
never taste that college glory.
It would be rude if we dissed Oregon on the one day Dan wasn't here.
Yeah, he wouldn't like that.
That's not very kind.
No.
Moving over to the East, we've got UNC, the cheating cheaters that cheat. NCAA is really about to wrap that case up any day now, I promise. And for Notre Dame, Mike Bray is a pit boss with a shady past.
Yeah.
I don't know what the constant scruff is.
I don't either, but I kind of miss the turtletnecks. I'm not gonna lie. That whole look really kind of put him over the edge for me.
It's right on the precipice of is this a beard or not?
What's your pick
cheating
here?
Cheaters that cheat?
I
have nothing against UNC, but I'm not gonna get tired of a school being labeled as the cheating cheaters.
Midwest. We've got Virginia. Could you play any slower?
Oh my
Could you play any slower?
Virginia would happily win a game 37-28.
Oh, that'd be their dream.
I think they do this because they feel bad for UVA football. And they're like, guys, we really can't score too many points. We're going to see them in the cafeteria.
We're all part of the same
exactly. And then the other side of that.
Against Syracuse.
Yeah, which is the zone. The zone is for cowards. Play man defense,
That's
you
right.
stupid babies.
Why are you playing in fear?
So let's look at the 1 seeds from a more serious angle. We are looking at the possibility of an all 1 seed Final Four for the first time since 2008. I think only the second time in tournament history. They've all looked pretty solid so far. They haven't had any moments where you look at them and say, ooh, they're just barely scraping by. But let's go through each one of their games and figure out what's the biggest hurdle for each one of these teams. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Kansas.
Okay.
Let's start with Kansas. So Kansas is going to face Villanova, who looked real good. And the thing that I think Kansas needs to be worried about is that Villanova, what they did to Miami, came out so strong early on, forced 5 turnovers. Yeah. Miami was never able to get into the game. Kansas against Maryland had a very slow start. Out of sync offensively. I think they committed a bunch of turnovers as well. It wasn't until the second half that they really got things clicking. Now, Villanova shot 63% from the field that game. So it's
just stupid.
Dumb.
That's just stupid.
I just said it. I'm like,
Right.
And so if Kansas has a slow start,
Villanova will just jump all over
is the
them.
type of team that's going to jump all over them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be their big hurdle.
Right. Going to UVA, playing Syracuse. You know, we make fun of the zone defense. It is for cowards, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is it's working this tournament. No team has scored more than 60 points against the Orange so far. And that game against Gonzaga, you see the last 6 minutes of the game, the Bulldogs don't get a single field goal.
They
get
basket.
3 points over the last 6 minutes.
Like 6 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah, and they only get 3. I think they get 4 free throws for the rest of the game. So when it works, it really, really works. And the problem for UVA is, what do you do when you are facing a team that is from some perspective, shutting teams down better than you are?
Yeah.
Like, does UVA have to turn into a team that can start scoring quickly? Do they have to change their identity? It's going to be, I mean, Syracuse, I still don't understand how they've done this well so far.
I know.
But they have, so you kind of have to take them seriously.
So moving on to UNC, who just pretty much shellacked Indiana in a game that it felt like it was over from
about five minutes
the first
or so.
bucket.
Yeah.
So they are going to be facing a Notre Dame team who literally just stole a win from the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, from the perimeter, they were forcing turnovers, scoring on turnovers. They looked solid in the paint. Here's what they have to worry about, and this is what Mike Bray told his team after Notre Dame won, is that Notre Dame doesn't lose on Good Friday or Easter Sunday. And it's, I can't argue with that.
I mean,
if the good Lord wants the Fighting Irish to win, who am I to argue? And I'm just saying, Tar Heels.
That's the problem with being a state school on a religious holiday. Lastly, we're going to look at Oregon. Dan, we miss you as always. Going up against Oklahoma, the simple fact is Oklahoma has the best scoring threat left in the tournament, individual player. They've also gotten some really good play from Jordan Woodard. Oregon, it looks good.
They look good. They look real good.
But when you're facing that one player who can just go on a flurry, get you out of a 10-point deficit like that, that's a big concern. And I think there's no sort of way around that. I don't think I'm surprising an Oregon fan by saying, yeah, you have to account for Buddy Hield.
Right.
But he's still Buddy Hield, and that's going to be, he's unlike anybody that Oregon has had to face up to this point.
And Buddy Hield only scored, 17 points in his last game, and they still won
handily,
convincingly. So Oregon should be a little nervous.
Speaking of singular talents, we're going to check in with our buddy Seth Rosenthal.
Oh, man.
Staying at 4 points all tournament long, continues to just sort of hone his bracket knowledge.
So he says.
We
haven't actually seen a bracket.
Let's see how he's doing.
Yeah, and so you have the top ones, we got the middle ones, we got obviously the bottom ones on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. That's all I really need. But anyway, hey guys. Come on in. Here, wait, let me get you a drink. I didn't know you guys were coming. So, welcome. It was a quiet few days without basketball, but I taught myself a lot of new hobbies. I mastered the Rubik's Cube, as you can see, all red. That only took me like 18 hours. Let's see. Oh, I did this 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, this only took me like a day and a half. The real hard part was the sky. You know, that takes you a while because those are the middle pieces. You can't tell them apart. And Alan here taught me to speak Portuguese. His parents are from Lisboa. I had no idea. Boruau, that means perfect bracket. Oh, speaking of which, brackets, still perfect. I got a stack of them over there too. There's been a lot of upsets. There's been buzzer beaters, some teams advancing that I think people didn't expect, but we got a bunch more games to watch this weekend. I'm really fired up to watch them, and I'm pretty sure my bracket's gonna stay perfect. I did the research. Anyway, Gadiush! So anyway, each of the Egyptian pharaohs has his own cartouche. Yeah, and a tomb that's all of his own. Here, let me top off your drink.
Should I be worried?
What was that?
I really don't know.
What worried you most?
I don't know where to start.
Right. I mean, that's not, the Portuguese is one thing.
The Portuguese is one thing, but the fact that he literally
what did he do to the puzzle? What is the puzzle?
Was it taped?
Was it glue?
I don't know. Sorry, 4 points.
Before we go, one thing that has come up in this last round of the tournament has been questions of etiquette. We saw at the end of the Kansas game sort of a unnecessary bucket. At the end of Duke's game against Oregon, a little bit of a, unnecessary three-pointer, some attitude.
Sure.
It's hard to know exactly when is it okay to shoot an unnecessary shot at the end of a game that you're definitely going to win. When is it not okay?
Right.
You've helped us come up with sort of a guide.
Yeah, no, because I think that there are a few circumstances in which it is perfectly acceptable.
Yes.
To make a garbage time shot.
Yeah.
One of which is when
Number one with a bullet, I would say.
Number one with a bullet is when, I've been to NBA games where it's like if the team gets to 100 points, everybody that's in the stadium will get like free Taco Bell.
Yeah,
or something like
free
that.
Free food.
So, hello, you're a hero.
Number two, if you're a walk-on or a senior or something like that, if it's one of those you don't get to play very much and sort of opportunities for glory, I'm fine with that.
I'm totally fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Have your moment.
Yeah. What's number 3 on our list?
If you're gonna attempt something just like completely outrageous, like some crazy like behind the back move, massive like half court jumper from like a big guy, I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't care.
If you're a 7-footer and you get the ball in the corner, absolutely
Go for
jack up that 3. What do I care? And most importantly, the 4th instance in which it's okay to make a unnecessary bucket
is when you have the opportunity to piss off Coach K.
I'm sorry, we just love it. We're Americans. How can we not want to see that man mad?
Absolutely. Like, pissing off Duke fans, man.
It's so hard, too. Very hard. Very rare. That's all we've got for this edition of Wake Up College Basketball, brought to you by 4 Points. Travel reinvented. Book now at 4points.com. We've only got a few more of these left.
I know.
Thank you again for joining us, Susanna.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I hope Seth's alive. I hope you're all having fun out there. Final Four is right around the corner, so get those brackets nice and ready.
Burn them.